everybody, welcome to Big Balls Fantasy Football, the show with powerful picks, sexy super fans, and is really fun. I am your host, 20-year fantasy veteran, Greg Reifstick.
And I'm your co-host, a 10-year fantasy veteran. My name is Jenilee, and together we are the beauty
and the beast
of fantasy football experts.
If you're a regular viewer, you notice we left something out of that intro. I'm not wearing a Bears jersey this week. Jenilee's not wearing her Bears colors. Zoe, our wonder dog, is not even wearing her Bears jersey because, damn it, Jay Cutler, why can't you beat the Packers? Why do you let it get in your head all the time? First half looked good. Second half, picks. What's your pick quotient with Jay Cutler?
It needs to be a 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, which he did through week 2 and 3. He actually had 0 picks through week 2 and 3. And again, he plays the Packers and just these terrible interceptions. Now, I will say that one of them seemed to look like Brandon Marshall's fault. And actually, Trestman said in the press conference that it was Marshall's fault. He said he ran the wrong route.
Yeah.
So that one maybe can't put on Cutler as much. The other one, a little bit of freak play because it popped up in the air for so long. But he was trying to fit it in, I think, to way too tight of a window. I didn't like that throw. Nobody liked
that second one. And you bring that up, and I wasn't even going to address this, but hey, all the Bear fans getting and the sports writers getting their panties in a bunch about Trestman calling out Marshall. Marshall's a damn professional. When you have a job and you fuck up on your job, guess what? Your boss is going to walk up to you and say, hey, you fucked up, but I'm going to give you another chance. And of course, he's Trestman's guy. But he called in the play. Trestman knows the route he's supposed to run, and if he runs the wrong route and Cutler throws it to the defender, that's that. So everybody calm down. Yes, Trestman is allowed to call out his players in a press conference. Don't you think so?
Oh, I do. I totally agree with you. And, Cutler had said that there was miscommunication on that play. When you saw the replay, it was obvious that they weren't on the same page. It wasn't obvious maybe whose fault it was. But yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with Trestman saying that. And it really makes me question at least how healthy Marshall is with that ankle. I mean, first of all, they weren't going to him much in the game. So that shows you right there that he was kind of just out there as a decoy more so. They were going to Alshon Bennett a ton and running the ball like we had talked about. But, it really makes you question now. I mean, he's playing on this bad ankle, and is it worth holding him out for a week for him to get better? Because I feel like he's not getting better because he's not practicing, but he's playing every week. So
I mean, we don't want there to be drops. We don't want there to be missed routes. We don't want him to be concentrating on the pain. We want him to be concentrating on catching the ball. So hey, we have Santonio Holmes. We have other options. I know he's Santonio Holmes compared to Marshall, but hey, you got to play with the players that you have. So fantasy-wise, if you had Bennett, you did good. If you had Alshon, you did good. In fact, later on, we are going to have, because it was Bears-Packers rivalry week, we are going to have a fan segment from TinHorn Flats. And we break down most of the stats there, but why don't you tell us a little bit about the Packers? Damn you, Prost! Damn you, Prost!
Yeah, we're not happy Bear fans this week, as you can tell.
We're blacked out. Blacked out.
Unfortunately, we're not shocked.
No, we're not.
I would have been more shocked with a win, but which is sad.
Yes.
You hear that, Bears? That's sad.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the Packers a little bit. Fantasy-wise, Rodgers got you a ton of points. He went for 302 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So there are quarterbacks out there that don't throw picks.
4-0.
Lacey didn't get you a lot of yards. He only got you 48, so good job, Bears D, at stopping the run, but he did get you a touchdown. And they weren't trying to run very much because they were passing at will. Wherever Rodgers wanted to throw it.
Especially.
Randall Cobb went 113 for 2 touchdowns, and Jordy Nelson went 108 for 2 touchdowns as well. So again, Rodgers was just throwing the ball anywhere he wanted. Chicago's defense gave up 358 yards total. However, Green Bay's defense gave up 496 yards total. If you look at the stats, just viewing the stats themselves, you would think the Bears won the game.
Or broke even. At least broke even. But no.
They had more time of possession.
Yes.
I mean, there were just so many statistics. But red zone, the Bears were 2 for 4. The Packers were 4 for 5.
Yep.
Red zone and obviously turnovers.
It says it all. So that was the Bears-Packer game. Again, watch our fan segment coming up. You'll see us at TinHorn Flats, as we always are in Burbank, having fun with some fans and breaking down the game. And also, we will introduce you to our local representative of the Brandon Marshall Foundation, won't we?
Yeah, absolutely. We had a very special guest. We lucked out and ran into Matt from the Brandon Marshall Foundation. He was out here on vacation, actually. So he's from Chicago, lives in Chicago, just happened to be out here and doing some stuff at TinHorn. And it's great footage, so you'll have to watch that.
Yeah, and give. I went on their website, and they're just starting to get started. And they're going to be, you'll see the shirt that Jenilee bought, but they also have these really nice big B with the Bears color shirts that you can buy for $20-$30. Every penny goes to the foundation. It isn't one of these foundations where, they pay all their workers. I mean, everybody is working, basically pro bono, and that's a fantastic way to run an organization. So let's get into bye weeks. Everybody's going to have not as much bye week trouble as last week with 6 teams, and you're like, we only said 5 on the show, but there were 6. And a lot of people had bye week trouble, and I went 2 for 2 in my leagues, in my 4 leagues, because I was 3-0 in 2 of them and 1-2 in the other ones, and now I'm 2-2 and 3-1 because of bye week insanity. And I had players on the bench like Pierre Garçon and other players that should have been in my lineup, but that's fantasy football. I mean, you gamble, and that's what you do. I don't like apologizing here on the show, but my picks last week sucked. They're going to be much better this week. Much better this week. Yours panned out.
Mine definitely panned out. I had an okay bye week time. I should have won 2 leagues out of my 3. I lost 1 league by 0.05 points. 0.05. I got a tackle for loss taken away from my defense in stat corrections. I had New England's crappy, shitty defense this week. And I had LaShawn McCoy do absolutely nothing. So that one hurt. That one was painful. But the other one, I balled out. I had the Giants tight end, Donnell, who went off. I had Asiata, who went off. So I picked up some good people in my bye week, and I survived.
Yeah, Donald. Wow. That was like... I'm at the bar, I'm watching the game, I'm boxing her, and I'm like, what's with this Donald guy? And she, oh, you mean the tight end that I picked up off the waiver wire that's balling out for me? I'm like, everybody at the bar is looking at their fantasy stuff going, who the fuck,
Hey, I got my first win in that league. I am in one of those positions, I know we talked about it on a different show, but I have the most points scored against me in one league and the second most points scored against me in both other leagues. So everyone is just balling when they play me. So I'm hoping that this week and on the rest of the season goes a little better.
Definitely. So this week we also got some listener questions up on our Facebook page. You can go to us at www.facebook.com/BigBallsFantasyFootball, or you can go to BigBallsFantasyFootball.com. You can send us a message there, or you can tweet us a question at BigBallsFBall. So who asked us a question and about what?
Okay, so our first question was from Felipe, and his question is it good to trade Kelvin Benjamin for Alfred Morris?
You start with that one.
I start with that one? Okay. I'm going to sit here and say I don't think it's a bad trade depending on what your running back situation is. If you're in dire need of a running back, then I think it's an okay trade, and this is why. They both have 3 touchdowns on this season, so far touchdown-wise, they're exactly the same. Now, you do have to think, if you do get Morris, he's got Seattle's defense and Arizona's defense coming up in the next 2 weeks. So those 2 weeks might not pan out for you. You might be like, why did I do this? But then after that, he has Tennessee, Dallas, and Minnesota. So he should get you points in those next 3 weeks. You're just going to have to suffer through 2 weeks. And Benjamin, he's been targeted a lot. He's obviously their number one receiver. Him and Cam do have a great relationship, but he's only caught 58% of his passes. So I would like to see him get a little more consistent. He's a rookie, and that's obviously where that inconsistency is coming from. I would like to see him catch more 65 to 70%. So in my opinion, if you are in need of a number one running back, you have injuries, or you have guys that haven't panned out, it's an okay trade. I like it.
Now, here's a situation. If you are good in your running back situation, it's a bad trade. Benjamin's been getting double digits every week for you in fantasy, which is what you're looking for. He's Cam Newton's guy. He is Cam Newton's guy now. He's the guy he's going to go to. That's why he might not be catching all his passes, but fantasy-wise, he is coming through for you. Cam Newton has also been shaky. And then speaking of shaky, the Redskins' offense, especially coming up on these defenses, I don't know. I mean, Morris has had a few weeks that haven't looked that great. If you don't need a running back, don't go for the trade. But I agree. If you do, I think it's a good situation.
Yeah, Morris hasn't had 100 yards in a game yet. He's come close. I think he will once he plays a couple of these defenses that aren't as tough. And you also have to remember, if you're in a PPR league, then I don't like this because Alfred Morris does not catch passes. They really do not throw to him out of the backfield. They put Julio Jr. in when they're going to pass the ball. So you have to remember, he's just going to pound it up the middle. He's going to get you yards and some touchdowns, but PPR-wise, probably wouldn't want to give Benjamin away for that.
Definitely not. What's our second question?
Our second question is, would you start Antonio Gates or Greg Jennings this week?
I don't like Greg Jennings on the on the Thursday night game. I know I was saying his praises last week. Unfortunately, Bridgewater got injured in the last game, so we don't really know what the quarterback situation is until probably game time. So when you're dealing with that, you don't want to gamble on who's going to pass to my receiver on a Thursday when you can kind of get a guaranteed situation. Well, not guaranteed, but you have a chance at points with Gates. Gates has had one stellar week and a bunch of weeks, but he, as I said in the last show, gets thrown to 40% of the time by Phillip Rivers. Right even with not Keenan Allen, Eddie Royal. Eddie Royal and Antonio Gates gets thrown to 40% of the time. I'll take those odds.
Yeah, I totally agree with him on that. I don't like, there's some divisional matchups that I don't like as much. Other players you're going to play no matter what the matchup is. But this is one that the Vikings are playing in Green Bay. Ponder most likely will be the quarterback. I think it's going to be an ugly situation. And Green Bay is actually stepping up against the pass. They're 5th against the pass. So I think that's something that a lot of people didn't expect or don't even realize that they're playing that good against the pass. And the Chargers play the Jets. We obviously know the Jets' secondary is weak, so I think Phillip Rivers is going to have an easy time with that matchup.
Yeah.
And the last question was, what's wrong with the Panthers' defense?
What is wrong with the Panthers' defense? They're getting run on like crazy. I'm going to get into that in my Beast Mode segment because one of my picks is going against their D.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're having a hard time up front. They have Greg Hardy that's gone, obviously because of the domestic violence issues. And they don't know if they're going to miss Charles Johnson, who's another big-time defensive end for them. He's injured. He might be out for week 5, which, of course, would be good for our Bears.
Yes.
But everything starts up front, obviously. If you can't get to the quarterback and you can't stop the run, then you're going to give your secondary a very difficult time. And they lost some guys to free agency in their secondary, Mike Mitchell and Captain Munnerlyn. So you always have to realize when a team changes personnel, even slightly, it's going to change how the team plays.
We have no idea about that with our Bears defense, do we? Not a clue. Because of injuries every week, we're still bringing people in and bringing people out. It's kind of this weird revolving door when we had these regulars to rely on for so many years.
Yep.
It's tough. It's tough. Also, everybody, we have our Kickstarter going. We are in our last week, everybody. We really need your help. Only one more week to go. It's not. We haven't gotten a lot of people, and we really want your help to make the show better, to improve it, to bring more stuff onto the show, to take more trips, to get more fans involved, and just to make it a better show. So go to Kickstarter.com, type in Big Balls Fantasy Football. We're under the film and video section. Give $1, give $2, give $5. If you want to give $500, we're throwing a party in the middle of November, and you all can come to it. There's only 5 available, but, help us out. We have one more week, and I know in a lot of Kickstarter campaigns, that's when people wait for. So, come on, listeners, and come on, viewers. We hope you can help us out. So next, we are going to get into Real Men. You're going first this week, aren't you?
I am going first.
All right. She's going to have some big picks for you to get through your bye week. Stay tuned.
I need a real man. Have you seen him?
Welcome to my Real Man segment, week 5. We're already in week 5, and you shouldn't have as much of a problem on bye weeks this week as last week. We already talked about that. It's only the Dolphins and the Raiders on a bye. So I decided to give more ballsy picks this week for you guys instead of just the ones that you're always going to be starting. So my first pick is tight end Jordan Cameron. He's a 2.5 on the ball scale, and I say 2.5 because he's got a little bit of an injury with that shoulder. But he's coming off of his bye week, and he says that he feels healthy. So, hey, this might be the healthiest that you get him all season. They are playing the Titans this week, and the Titans have given up 3 touchdowns to 3 less talented tight ends so far this season. Those tight ends that have scored against the Titans are Anthony Fasano, Dwayne Allen, and Kobe Fleener. Jordan Cameron has a lot more talent than any of those tight ends, so I think he should be able to get in the end zone this week. And the Titans are a lot better against wide receivers than they are against tight ends. They've only given up 2 touchdowns to wide receivers this year. So we know that Cleveland doesn't have the best wide receivers out there by any chance, and I think that they're going to have to get the ball into Jordan Cameron's hand for them to have a chance in this game. And let's face it, both teams need this win. The Browns are 1-2, and the Titans are 1-3. They're playing in the Titans' home, so I think this will be a close game because both teams are desperate for this win. So get him in your lineup this week. I have him, and I'm putting him in. Moving on to my second pick for the week is wide receiver Marcus Wheaton. And this guy, I'm going out there with this one. He is a 4 balls pick on the scale, but like I said, I'm being ballsy this week. I actually had to throw him in, and hey, he got me a few points last week. I think he'll do even better this week. He has 26 targets on the season so far. Of course, Antonio Brown has 39 targets, but he is catching 73% of what's thrown his way. So I'm liking that percentage. When the ball's thrown his way, he's catching. And Jacksonville is giving up an average of 213 yards per game to wide receivers. So that means ideally Antonio Brown and Marcus Wheaton could each have 100-yard games if that's the case. I think he could get his first touchdown. Jacksonville's given up 5 touchdowns to wide receivers, so he hasn't gotten in the end zone yet, but I'm looking for this to be the week that he gets that first touchdown. And let's face it, Jacksonville gave up 2 touchdowns to Eddie Royal last week, who's a wide receiver 3 on their depth chart. Wheaton is a wide receiver 2, so I think this is a great week if you have injuries. If you're just wanting to chance someone, especially in your flex, go out and grab him and let's see what he does for you. Now I have a don't start. My don't start this week is do not start Tom Brady. I don't know if you saw the game against the Chiefs, but it was bad to the bad to the bad. They are playing the Bengals. They're playing at home, but they're playing the Bengals. And the Bengals have looked amazing so far this year again. They have 7 sacks in 3 games because they had their bye week last week. I will take that. That's obviously a little more than 2 sacks per game. Brady has only thrown 1 touchdown per game. Very un-Brady-like, very un-Patriot-like. and he has not had a 300-yard passing game yet this season. I don't think it's going to come this week. The Bengals have 6 interceptions in 3 games as well. Brady just threw 2 this past week, so again, that's not looking so good for him. Bengals might be picking him off a little bit. And the Bengals have only allowed 2 passing touchdowns in 3 games. So everything looks bad for the Patriots this week facing the Bengals. I guess they're going to have to attempt to lean on their running game, but who knows? Brady's not going to give you the points that you need at quarterback, so do not start him. And now we're going to move it on to Greg has his Beast Mode picks for you. He's got a lot of good ones this week, so let's go there.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Big Balls Fantasy Football. It's a special blackout edition of Beast Mode this week because yes, I'm pissed off at Jay Cutler. But I'm a Bears fan, and there is one Bear I was not pissed off at last week, and he is my first Beast Mode pick for you. That's right, I'm going home with our running back, Matt Forte. He had 2 great games against the Packers. I told you to play him last week. He got you points. This week, we're of course playing Panthers. He's had 2 great games against the Panthers the last 2 times he played against them. He's averaging 133 rushing yards per game in the last 4 games with the Panthers. You got to go in with them. They right now have the 27th ranked run defense, the Panthers. I know that is shocking. They usually have a much better defense, but this year they're just not doing it. I don't know what their defensive coordinator is doing or Ron Rivera is putting in their heads, but hey, it's not working out. Take advantage this week. I hope our Bears win, but I sure as hell hope that Matt Forte still gets it going. And of course, we're dealing with, Dr. Cutler and Mr. Hyde. We don't know which one's going to show up this week, so hey, go with the sure thing. Go with our running game. My second beast this week is Big Ben. Big Ben, of course, lost to Tampa Bay last week in a stunning, very close loss, 27-24. But he got you some damn good points. He's going right now up. They have the 5th ranked offense, the Steelers do, up against the 31st ranked defense in Jacksonville. It's pick on Jacksonville week this week. Jenilee gave you against Jacksonville pick. I'm going to give you one too. That's the way you have to play fantasy football. If you see that weak of a matchup, you just got to pounce on it. And somebody has to have Big Ben in their lineup. If it's you, get him up there. Even if you have kind of a even Steven thing at your quarterback position, stick him in. He's going to get you some sure points. Completed 28 of 39 passes last week for 325 yards. For the season, he's already at 1,092 yards and 6 touchdowns. Get him in your lineup this week. My third beast for you this week is a guy that at the beginning of the season you would have said, hey man, this guy has to be in your lineup, and I even kept him out of one of my lineups last week and I regretted it. Steve Smith Sr. Now, of course, Jenilee reamed me about this because it was his revenge game against the Carolina Panthers. He, of course, is now on the Ravens, and in that Ravens-Panthers game, he humiliated them. Caught 7 balls for 139 yards and 2 touchdowns. That is smoking your former team. I love it. One of the catches was this insane catch that bounced off of Owen Daniels, the tight end's hands. All of a sudden ends up in his hands. Touchdown. Hey, I mean, you gotta look for also a receiver that has that kind of concentration to be able to pick up those kind of catches when he sees the opportunities and he seizes them. The old man still has gas in his tank. I mean, unbelievable for his age, but he is balling out right now. Through 4 games, Smith has 25 receptions, 429 yards, 3 touchdowns. There's no way you can't have this one-ball pick. Yes, I can't believe I said it myself. Steve Smith Sr. on the Ravens, a one-ball pick this week. Not Torrey Smith. I know. I'm just as shocked as you. So, as we said at the beginning of the show, we had a lot of fun at TinHorn Flats, Burbank. We went out there and had Rivalry week with the Bears and the Packers. Fuck you, Prost. I'm just saying it right now. really sucked. And let's go to the footage and see what kind of a time we had there at the bar. Big Balls Fantasy Football here. It is the game every year that Bear fans are excited about. It's like second Christmas. It's the Bears-Packers rivalry game. We are here at TinHorn Flats, Burbank, as always, to watch the game. The 189th meeting of these two teams. What a great rivalry. This game, we have a lot of weird intangibles going on. First of all, you have Jared Allen out on defense because he has the flu. Come on, Jared, toughen up. But we have Youngin, who is younger, who is faster. Jared Allen was a little bit slow last week. Kept trying to catch Geno Smith, but, didn't quite get him once for a... Bears, see? We have all the Bears fans here. We're all excited. Also, number 22 right here, for goodness sake. The last two times the Bears and the Packers have met, Forte has run for 100 yards. It's going to be 3 in a row, people. Fantasy gold. The front four of the Packers aren't that good, so we're going to see a lot of fantasy points going up. I predict this is going to be a shootout game. I don't know what Jenilee is going to think, but we're going to bring her on camera right now and let her give you the wide receiver report.
Hi, it's Jenilee here with Big Balls Fantasy Football, and as Greg already told you, we're at TinHorn Flats in Burbank, California, a huge Bears bar. And this is a crazy matchup. We love it. We get it twice a year. This is the first one of this season. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the Bears wide receivers. I think this game is going to really come down to the passing game because neither secondary is really all that great. The Bears secondary is a little bit banged up, but Mundy will be playing. I just think that it's going to end up being a wide receiver battle out there. I think Brandon Marshall is going to have a good game. He got banged up a little bit more against the Jets last week. I had him as a real man last week, and he didn't do very much. I think he only got 1 catch, but that was because he re-injured his ankle. So that ankle is still a little gimpy, but I still think he's going to make some big plays out there for you. I predict he's going to get a touchdown and go for at least 80 yards receiving. Alshon is another monster out there. He got over 100 yards against the Jets, and I think he's going to be a guy that Cutler is going to look to, especially with Marshall being a little bit banged up. So again, I think Alshon can have over 100 yards. And don't forget about tight end Martellus Bennett. He has been balling out. He has a touchdown for you every week so far if you have him in fantasy. So I played him this week. It's a tough divisional game, and Cutler's going to have to use his weapons out there and play smart if they're going to win this one to get their first home win. So my score prediction is 28-21 Bears, and we're going to see what's going to go on in this game.
Get really awareness out to the community and really target the younger demographic and really get to the masses. And so my wife and I were in California for a wedding yesterday, and we decided, let's find the best Bears bar in California. Real quick about the foundation. It's near and dear to my heart personally. Mental health and the foundation supports mental health awareness and funds a lot of programs around mental health. And personally, my family, it's in my family. I deal with it on a daily basis, and so the foundation is near and dear to me, and near and dear to a lot of people out there. And so what Brandon's doing is really important. And 100% of the foundation is supported by Brandon and his wife. So any money that we raise and that Brandon raises goes straight to these causes. It doesn't go to pay, his staff or anything like that. He supports the foundation, all the operations out of his own pocket. So it's really unique out there. Not many NFL athletes do that. So just so you guys know that it's very unique. It's very cool. And it really is his purpose, where football is his platform. So real quick, we're just doing a couple things. It's really easy. $15 donation gets you a wristband. You get 15% off your bill. $20 t-shirts right here from 500level.com. A great t-shirt company that does these artist renderings of all different athletes. Check it out. And we also have raffle tickets. We got an autograph football we're raffling off at the end of the third period. So we're up here in the corner. Thank you so much for your attention, and bear down.
Jenilee here here from Big Balls Fantasy Football, and we're here at halftime at TinHorn Flats. And you might be wondering why I'm holding something green, but we have a very special guest with us. His name is Matt, and he's from the Brandon Marshall Foundation. And Matt, can you tell us a little bit about what you do for the foundation?
Absolutely. I am the chairman of a social committee, and we focus on setting up events like this. Obviously, mostly in Chicago, but it happened to be in California this weekend, and so we found the biggest Bears bar in California, and this is where that's why we're here. So.
And what type of stuff are you doing today? I have a T-shirt that
Absolutely.
I bought. So
Absolutely. So our big events this fall are game launch events, and we do promotions with the bars. It's $15 to get 15% off your bill. We're selling T-shirts for $20 from 500level.com. And the biggest move besides raising money is also bringing awareness to the mental health community. That's the foundation's focus on, is mental health awareness. So.
Awesome. And you also play fantasy as well. Since we're a fantasy show, we got to talk a little fantasy.
Absolutely.
Who do you have on the Bears on your fantasy team?
Brandon Marshall.
I do too. And he already has a touchdown.
Yes,
so
sir.
fantasy-wise, B. Marsh is getting it done.
That's right.
Alshon has a touchdown as well. And we're rooting for the Bears to win. We're down at halftime, but we're going to pull this out, aren't we?
Got it.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being
Absolutely.
with us.
All right, Big Balls Fantasy Football here at TinHorn Flats at halftime at the Bears-Packer game, 189th meeting. Tell us about it, man.
I mean, it's lovely, man. We having a nice time. It's beautiful. We losing right now, but I'm very confident that we're going to pull it out. I mean, this the year. This the year I believe that we're going to party like it's 1985. We're going to do it. Go Bears.
So identify yourself. What kind of Bears fan are you?
Very passionate. I mean, I take 3 trains and ride a bike 5 miles just to get here. How passionate is that?
Exactly. And we got the grater on the head. Are you kidding me?
They got the cheese, we got the grater. Chop them up, slice them up, and put it on our Chicago dogs.
Yeah, you saved up a lot of your allowance for that grater, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Real fans do real things.
So, what's your scoring prediction for the end of this game?
Oh, sorry.
35-28.
35-28. You heard it here. All right, let's give you a scoring update here of the fantasy between the Bears and the Packers. We have a touchdown for Alshon Jeffrey. We have a touchdown for Brandon Marshall. Hell yeah. Bennett, very controversial call for a no touchdown. Waved the ball possibly over the touchdown line. They even did a booth review. They didn't like it up there. I think the Fox fix is in, but that's just me. So there's your halftime fantasy report. We'll talk to you after the game.
Okay, and since we're fantasy football here, we have to give you a little bit of a Packers update fantasy-wise as well. Aaron Rodgers has 2 passing touchdowns. One is to Randall Cobb, one is Jordy Nelson, and Eddie Lacy has a rushing touchdown. So far, neither defense has really shown up. This is a high-scoring game at the half, 21-17 Packers, and I think it's going to continue to be high-scoring. So if you're in fantasy, you're loving it.